Happy Saturday. I was having some technical difficulties with my camera. So you guys, I am in the shop working today. I say working. To me, it's not like working. It's fun, so I don't really feel like, oh, I'm out here working. But it is like 5 weeks until Christmas, and I have a few orders that I have to get done. So I'm out here on the weekend. But really, this is sort of my happy place, and so I'm perfectly fine with that. Anyway, I'm putting a binding on a t-shirt quilt today, and then it's going to go in the wash, and this client can pick up her quilt after tomorrow. So I thought I would come to you guys today and hang out, say hello. It's been a while since I've done a live video on Facebook, and I'm trying to build up my nerves to do a YouTube live video. So I'm trying to drink as much of this as I can before I start sewing, because I'm going to move it away. Okay, I'm done. I don't like the drinks near the quilts. Hello, Carol. How are you? Sorry if you guys hear notifications. I tried to do the do not disturb thing, and then my camera didn't want to work, and so you might hear notifications as we go along. I'm sorry, you guys. Just not that tech savvy. Where was I? Oh, move the drink away from my quilt. I usually don't like bringing drinks out here, period, but it's kind of cloudy and I need my coffee. So I'm doing the binding on this quilt, and just thought I would hang out with you guys a little bit. I feel kind of really bad. This morning I got a message from someone who was looking to have a t-shirt quilt made for Christmas. And I feel really bad because I had to tell them I couldn't do it. Usually by the end of August, I have all of my weeks booked up with quilt orders for Christmas. And I'm actually booked through most of January, which is great for me, but not so good if you are shopping now for a t-shirt quilt. So I apologize if I have to tell you no. I don't like doing it. I don't like saying no. But I've learned in the last couple of years that taking on more work this close to Christmas is really, really stressful. And so I know my limits now, and I know what helps me stay sane. And so unfortunately that means sometimes I have to say no. But I hate it. I hate saying no. So you guys might hear my machine. I know you can't really see what I'm doing, but it's not really a tutorial kind of day. It's just hanging out, and I wanted to run some ideas by you guys because I have two really awesome ideas. One of them I've already announced on my YouTube channel, and starting in January, I have a lot of viewers over there who are just getting into quilting and they want to make t-shirt quilts. And so January the 14th, we're going to do a quilt along, and it's going to be a block style t-shirt quilt. And we're going to start the first video cutting up shirts, and the best and easiest way to do that. And then we'll go into stabilizing the shirts. Then we'll do cutting out your blocks and piecing, arranging your quilt, piecing together the rows, and then the rest of the quilt top. I'm going to show the quilting, a couple of different ways that you could take care of the quilting by tying it or doing some quilting on your domestic machine. That part's a little bit iffy for me because it's not that easy to quilt a quilt on your domestic machine, but we're going to give it a try. We'll see what happens. And then I'll show you how to square up your quilt and make your binding and then bind the quilt. So that ought to be really fun. And if you're just getting into making quilts, then it should be a lot of useful information. Here is my other idea. I am going to do a mystery quilt. I'm so excited. I've already started. I have the initial drawing of the quilt that I want to do. And I've already started designing the blocks. And the type of quilt it's going to be, without giving away a ton of information about it because it is a mystery quilt, it's going to be all about learning how to do applique. There will be 12 featured blocks in this quilt. However, it won't be all like a traditional quilt. It's going to be different size blocks, different applique patterns in each block, and there's going to be some piecework involved. So it's going to be so much fun, you guys. I'm going to show you how to do different ways of applique. I've had some of my viewers and friends ask me about doing turned applique. A lot of viewers want to see more of the raw edge applique with the glue, and some viewers want to know about the heat and bond and doing raw applique that way. So it'll be 12 different blocks, and each block I will show different ways of doing that. And so that ought to be exciting. One really cool thing about that quilt is that you know, the videos will be on YouTube indefinitely, and so it's not like something, if you miss this week, then you miss out. You can watch the video and do the blocks when you're ready to do them. Each block will have a pattern specifically for that block. And I will have a download in my Etsy shop. And so each download will be $2. There will be 12 blocks. And there'll be instant downloads, so you can go over to Etsy, download your block pattern, and you'll be ready to go when you're ready. My door, the wind is catching my door. And some of the blocks you might not even need to download the pattern. You might be able to draw it out yourself. And so it's going to be fun. We're going to do some embellishing on that quilt with buttons and beads and rickrack and lace and trim and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to make mine out of scraps. The only thing I'm going to purchase for that quilt is some muslin because I want to tie everything together, and then everything else will be scraps, and I'm going to use clothing. So it's going to be an awesome memory quilt when I'm done. It's going to be a non-traditional style quilt, although there's some traditional methods in how we're going to piece some stuff together. The design is going to be really non-traditional, and I get to play in quilt design. That's one of my passions, is designing original quilts, and so if you're interested, stay tuned for those announcements about that. I'm still in the process of designing, and I want to make all of my block patterns before I start publishing videos on YouTube about that. But we're not far from that. So let me get busy while I'm talking. Speaking of YouTube, you guys, I have 663 subscribers. Isn't that awesome? And I've met some really, really fantastic, interesting people from YouTube, and some of them have joined me over here. Thank you, Margaret. I was just saying, what a surprise. And just this last week, I've picked up like 40 subscribers. Isn't that just crazy? That's crazy to me. That's weird because I don't really like public speaking, but I love what I do and I like sharing that information. And so, that's crazy. But that's where I'm going to put my videos for the t-shirt quilt along, and then the mystery quilts. All of those videos will be over on YouTube. So if you're on my quilting page here and you haven't checked out my YouTube videos, you can go subscribe and you can get notifications when I start posting those videos. If it's something you're interested in doing or learning about, doing applique or t-shirt quilts. It is getting close to Christmas. What kind of projects are all of you guys working on? I talked with someone this morning and I think she said, or no, it was last night, I think she has like 8 quilts to finish up that she's in the process of making or has started and has to finish by Christmas. 8. Yeah, that kind of sounds, I'm not quite at 8. I have this quilt to finish. I have 3 quilts to quilt for other quilters next week. And then I have a baby quilt to do. Oh, hi Holly. Yes, I think so too. I think, you know, it's one thing to have your friends and family to tell you, oh, you know, that looks so pretty, but to have other quilters and, you know, come in and admire your work or share the same interest in conversation, I really like that. I think that support, it's a great way, you know, the social media stuff is a great way to connect with other quilters, bounce ideas off of one another, get inspired by someone's work, or get help if you run into an issue. I think this whole social media thing is just awesome for that. You know, when I started quilting back in 1999, 98, 99, I was learning from books and there was no YouTube. I think the internet was like brand new. But I was really self-taught from reading in books. And I found it so difficult, and it's probably one reason why I got away from it for so long is because to me that's not the way that I personally learn from reading books. I know a lot of people do, but I like to see it being done or hands-on learning. And so this whole social media where you can go on YouTube and find tutorials with other quilters just like you and me, and being able to see it actually being done, and that's the way I learn. And so what a great way to be able to make videos and share, you know, share ideas and tricks that you've learned along the way. Anyway, so I have a baby quilt, and then I have a throw size collage style memory quilt, and then a queen size memory quilt. And a couple pillows to make, and a ton of journals. So you guys, I'm going to be working weekends and probably some evenings too between now and Christmas. But then I look forward to a week off, and I've planned that in my planner for a week at Christmas time. So that'll be nice. Holly, are you working on anything for Christmas that has to be done before Christmas time? Yeah, I learned from YouTube. I have learned so much, and not just with quilting. I mean, isn't it amazing if you have a question about doing anything, you just type it in, and there's 50 videos that show you different ways to do something. It's fabulous. I love it. Oh, you've been away from home. Hopefully for a good reason. So I'm sorry you cannot see what I'm doing. Some of my technical difficulties getting set up is my little baby tripod broke. So I've been using Harlan's big tripod to shoot videos. And of course, that tripod is too big to sit on this table. And so I just have you set up on a little selfie stick today. So you can't really see what I'm doing. But I've had people ask how I do my bindings. And so that is one of the videos on the list to show how I do the bindings. And I'm going to tell you the truth. There's so many ways to do this stuff. Oh, well, hopefully your mom recovers quickly, Holly, and everything goes well with the recovery on that. I'll be praying for her, and maybe with knee replacement, she will feel much better after everything is healed up. What was I just saying? Oh, my binding. I'm nervous about showing it, you guys, because there's so many different ways of doing everything. And some things I am really OCD about the way that I do them to get a very nice, clean, professional look. And some things I do little, tricks with that more traditional quilters would be like, oh, you're not supposed to do it that way. And I am just like, if something works for you, then do it that way. And so while the way that I do my bindings is mostly traditional, there are some things that I do that I probably wouldn't do if I was going to enter the quilt into a competition. But these are not competition quilts. Now, I have entered a quilt into a competition, and for that one I did hand sew my binding, and I did join my binding strips together at a 90-degree angle and all this fun stuff. But on my everyday quilts, I do it a little non-traditional. So these things will help a lot of people, but then you'll have some people that might come on and say that you're not supposed to do it that way. So that's why I've just been putting off doing a binding tutorial, just because I was trying to avoid the naysayers, but I need to grow some thicker skin. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And it's not really crazy ways. It's just non-traditional. And I belong to so many groups online on different social platforms, and you have a lot of quilters out there that are like me, that are split our skills between traditional and not so traditional, or maybe newer techniques, ways of doing things. And then you have a lot of them out there who are very, very rigid in all of their process, and they don't mind letting you know that. So that's what I've just been trying to avoid. But it's not like I do my binding like some crazy way. Hello, Margaret. T-shirt quilts for the binding. You know, I have not used it. It's not to say that you couldn't. To me, it seems like it would add a little level of difficulty to doing the binding. And I'm going to say that because your t-shirt material is a little bit thicker than using like a cotton material. So most definitely if you wanted to use it as a binding, you'd want to stabilize it because you know it's stretchy. So between the stabilizer and the t-shirt material you're working with to do the binding, it's going to add some thickness to your binding. Not to say that you couldn't do it, it's just going to add a little higher level of difficulty. And then of course the time and cutting your strips to make your binding, I think it would look fantastic. I just haven't done it, and to me cutting strips from, you know, yardage is faster and you don't have to stabilize it, so that's time saved. But if the quilt you're working on really calls for the look of using the t-shirts, I would give it, I would give it a try and go for it. Just be prepared that I think it might slow down the process a little bit, and so allow time for that, and just be patient with sewing your binding because it is going to add some thickness. And so I would probably bump up the size of needle that you're using to allow for that, so that you don't get any thread breakage and all your stitches stay nice and smooth and clean. I don't know, I'd be interested in seeing if you do it, to post some pictures and let's see it. I just haven't done it, and not to say that it can't be done. I'd like to see if you try. I have to say, with the stabilizer that I've been using, you know, I use the Pelon stabilizer that you get from Joann's, and I've been using that same brand, the same number. It's the P44 basic fusible interfacing. I've been using that same interfacing for 4 years now, 3 or 4 years now, and in the last 6 months I've noticed a difference in that stabilizer. It is thinner now. Am I the only one who has noticed the change in that? It used to be thicker, and now it is much thinner, which I'm trying to decide if I like that. I really like the drape of my quilts using this, even how it is now. It's almost, when you're done, you really don't feel like you have any kind of stabilizer in your quilt. So I do like that. I just think when you're stabilizing your shirt, it's not quite as easy to maneuver because it's so flippity floppity. But I've noticed a change. I was wondering if anybody else who uses it has noticed that. If you get brave enough, you should do it. I want to see it. So do it. And post pictures down below. One thing for sure, if you use the t-shirts material as your binding, for sure it would go with your quilt, right? Because you've used all those t-shirts in your quilt. So it would match perfectly, right? Oh, Holly, you've never done a t-shirt quilt. They are a load of fun. And I would tell you, because I do quilts on commission, 98% of the quilts that I make on commission are t-shirt quilts or memory style quilts with other clothing. And it's so interesting to see, you know, each quilt has its own personality. I've done quilts for people who were going to put their quilt on their bed in their RV when they travel, and their quilt was made from all of the places that they've traveled to. They picked up t-shirts, and so when they see their quilt, it's all about the places they've been. I've done quilts for graduation, you know, all the t-shirts that they've collected through school years. Just like, each one, even if you do a block style, very simple, basic block style quilt, doing a t-shirt quilt, they all have unique personalities because they're all, you know, different shirts. So it's interesting you say you thrift for t-shirts, because I announced the other day that I was going to do a quilt along to show people how to make a t-shirt quilt starting in January. And one of the requirements was that you have 20 shirts or 20 logos to put on the shirts. And then I had another viewer ask me about stabilizing a button front shirt. And so I thought it would be easier just to show them. So I made a video. I went in and found a button front shirt, but I was going through my closet. And I was like, if I use 20 of my shirts to make that quilt in January, I'm not going to have any clothes to wear. I don't even know that I have 20 t-shirts to cut up. So yeah, I'm going to have to go to the Goodwill. And fortunately, close to our house, we have one of the Goodwill outlets where it's divided, like one half of the building is your regular typical Goodwill store. And then the other half of the building are the big bins where you just, everything is piled high and you go through it, but you pay for the pound, so it's not really like $3.99 a shirt. It's, you pay for the weight. And so you can get a cart full of clothes for very, very cheap. So I'm going to have to go start hunting down. I was telling Jackie, who's one of my viewers, she has all of her, she's got plenty of shirts to make her quilt with in January. I'm going to have to go hunt some down. But that should be fun. Who knows what I'm going to find. You never know when you go in there exactly what you're going to find. Oh, Holly, you can do it. I'll tell you, the hardest part for doing quilts on commission for me in the beginning was actually cutting apart the shirt. Once I did that, I was okay, because, you know, then it's just like putting together any type of quilt. But when people drop off their clothes to me and we sit down for like a consultation, and that's when I get all of their information, you know, what colors do you want to do? What kind of layout are you looking for? They usually go through and tell me about most of the shirts, if not all of them. And each shirt has a story, and you see how important these shirts are to these families. And so initially the hardest part for me to overcome was actually cutting the shirt apart. But after you do a few of them, you get really comfortable doing that. And Holly, I say go for it. Don't be scared. Sorry, I'm getting chilly. I turned my heater off out here because it's loud. But it does do a wonderful job of heating this building up. But now it's starting to get chilly. So yeah, those were really the two things that I wanted to talk about. Was the t-shirt quilt along in January. Holly, here you go, Holly. Find 20 t-shirts or 20 logos. You know, it could be front and back, so you would need less shirts. and join us in January for the quilt along. You should do it. Go to the thrift store like Margaret, and that's where I'm going to find my shirts, because I don't have 20 to cut up. Go find some shirts and join us in January. So yeah, the January quilt along with the t-shirt quilts, and then the mystery quilt. Me either, Margaret. It's going to be fun. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to do the live videos, because I always get like really nervous doing the live videos. At least if I pre-record them, I can edit stuff out. So I'm trying to get comfortable doing the live video thing. Yes, make your son a t-shirt quilt. And he will love it because you made it for him. And it's really not that difficult. You stabilize the shirt and it's just like sewing with regular fabric. Here I am chit-chatting. And I want to get the binding on this quilt because, okay, those of you who live close to me in my area, I found we were coming home from somewhere, and we were coming up Work Boulevard near the Daily Press. I guess the Daily Press is still on Work Boulevard. It's where, close to that, close to where you get off on Mercury Boulevard. I saw this old like warehouse type of building. It's like 2 stories tall. And it's a place now called the Yard Sale. And it's a thrift shop. But in all of the glass windows, because it was a really old, like retro style building with huge glass windows everywhere. And all these glass items and knickknacks in all of these windows. And so they're open till 6 today. So when I get this done and get it in a wash, we're going to go check it out. Hi, Karen. Karen, have you been working on anything lately? Here you go, Holly. Karen made her first t-shirt quilt not that long ago. I had the pleasure of quilting her quilt for her. And she did a fabulous job. One of her first quilts, and she went with a t-shirt quilt. And I'm like, wow, that is brave. She did a really good job, too. And she joined me that day when I quilted it for her. So that was fun. Even though, Karen, you took some pictures, and I wish, like, I would have had my hair done or something. So yeah, we're going to go to the place called the Yard Sale and check it out. I am hoping, I'm not really going there for t-shirts though. Not there. I'm hoping to find like some vintage books or vintage stationery or old magazines or old sewing notions to include in some journals that I'm going to be making. Yep. Still waiting. I do that a lot. Hopefully she's not waiting if it's something for Christmas much longer. So yeah, I've been looking for in the journaling world they call it ephemera. So I'm looking for ephemera to put in some journals. Thank you for my sewing space. You see, my door is an ongoing project. and I'm going to be really honest, my legs are killing me. Because whenever I get the notion, I put, oh, there goes the wind. I put new pictures on the door, and I did about 50 million squats, like up and down Wednesday. And Thursday, I could barely get like up and down out of the chair. I was like, oh my glory, I am so like out of shape. But it's an ongoing process. And I kind of like the hodgepodge look of it all. Harlan says my door looks like a quilt. So that makes me happy. I want to do the whole ceiling that way. That's just me though. Karen, I don't know if you go to YouTube much, but I have some videos about doing t-shirt quilts over there. If you search Lisa Capen Quilts, my stuff generally comes up. And there's some tips about glue basting your seams with t-shirt quilts that might help you out the next time when you go to do, sorry, you guys, oh, Taco Bell for lunch. When you go to do your daughter's quilt, that might help you out doing piecing together your top. Holly, if you are still here, do you do much scrappy kind of quilts? I have that mystery quilt that I was talking about. I'm going to be using a lot of scraps in that quilt. And so if you're still hesitant about doing the t-shirt quilt, maybe you'll want to do the quilt along with that. That's going to be a lot of fun. The only thing about doing the Facebook Live videos is they don't let you play music. Although, you know what? I've seen other people do their live videos and they had music going. So, I don't know how that all works. One that I did, I had music in the background and they flagged it and said, that it was flagged for playing, and they could even they said the name of the song. I'm like, wow, the filters on these social media things that's pretty accurate. So I'm wondering how other people get away with having music in their Facebook Live videos, but I'm a person who needs music in the background all the time. That's what I say, Karen. Holly, do it. I really want to encourage my mom to do the mystery quilt along with us because she ordered some fantastic material recently, and I've never ordered material from Missouri Star Company, and that's where she got hers from. But I went and looked at all of the goodies she got, and that fabric is amazing. She got like some layer cakes and fat quarter bundles, and I don't know, I think she got some 5-inch, or are they charms? I forget all the little names for these things, but it was all put together, and so everything coordinates and is gorgeous. And so my mom, she's made one quilt before that I know of, that I can remember. And so she's looking to make another one, and she's been hem-hawing about a pattern. So I'm like, you know what, maybe she can do the quilt along with us. That would be fun. And use up that fabric before I try and get it off of her hands for her. But I'm using scraps in mine. But I'm trying to get my mom. I'm going to see if my mom will join in with us. That might be a good idea, Holly. Cut up some of your shirts, or go to the Goodwill and pick up some shirts and experiment and make a quilt, just so you can get the idea of how everything goes. And join us in January. I'm all twisted up. The only really good thing about being out here when I have the heater turned off and it's cold and you're doing work on a t-shirt quilt is they are warm. And so you get kind of warm just messing with your quilt. In the summertime, it gets hot. So I just thought I would come in to chat with you guys. Like I said, I'm trying to get more comfortable doing the live videos. And because when we do those quilt-alongs in January, some of those I do want to come in live so that I can answer questions as we go along. Because even though I do try to get back to people pretty quick, if someone is there and they're cutting up their shirts at the same time, or they're piecing together their shirts and they have a question, it'd be really nice for them to be able to ask and get an answer right away, and it's more like a conversation. So I'm trying to get more comfortable doing the live videos. It's a struggle. We all have areas we need to grow. Harlan, he can turn on the camera and he just talks away, and just like, you know, has an old friend there he's known forever, and he's very comfortable in front of the camera. Me, I start breaking out in a cold sweat, like stuttering and saying the same thing over 50 million times. So I'm working on it. That's why we're hanging out today. So if you have joined me, you guys, I just say thank you. Thank you. It's not like we're really showing anything groundbreaking today or even learning anything today. It's just talking. It sounds windy. Thank you, Margaret. Thanks, Holly. We'll see you later. Have a great weekend. Safe travels going home. Bye, Karen. Good. Yeah, join us in January. That will be fun. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is like my favorite. Bye, Holly. My favorite holiday because of the food. And I don't do Black Friday shopping, so I feel like I can just eat and chill out and relax. Although I might be working Friday. We'll see. Yeah, no, Black Friday. No way. Nope, I would rather sit back and watch all the craziness from Channel 10 News about the lines and the chaos and the people arguing and fighting over an Xbox. No. I hate shopping anyway. The only time I really love shopping is when I go to Joann's or Michael's, to be honest. I used to love grocery shopping, and then I got to where I hated doing that, and so now I order my groceries online at Walmart and pick them up. So, which, you know what, saves me a lot of time and a lot of money. And I was an avid couponer for like 6 years, every week, cutting up 4 Sunday papers and using coupons. And I saved a lot of money doing that. And then my sister-in-law, Evelyn, thank you, Evelyn, was telling me about the app on your phone for Walmart. And so I sat down one night and I was checking it out. I was like, whoa, this is cheaper even if I were to use a coupon over at Farm Fresh. And so is this. And so is this. And do you know, like 95% of the items that I had to buy that week were cheaper than if I used a coupon at Farm Fresh? And so now I have cut out doing that because that was like a part-time job all in itself. So now I save time, I shop from home, and I go and pick it up. So it's lovely. Thank you, Evelyn. But no, I'm not shopping on no Black Friday. I actually think, if I remember, I have put in my planner that I will be doing a binding on Friday. But you guys, today I was just telling Harlan, we went to go grab a bite of lunch, and I was telling him about all these really awesome people that I've met between Facebook and doing the videos over on YouTube. I will tell you, I have met some really incredible, like, lifelong friends just through quilting, either making quilts for people and we've become friends that way, or people that have come across my page on Facebook or have discovered my videos on YouTube. I met this one really terrific lady just this morning, and just her story has made me feel really good all day today. And it's like, wow, you know, I would have never met this person if it hadn't have been for that platform. And that's how I feel about a lot of the people that I've become friends with. If it weren't for all of these different social platforms, we would have never met, and I'm just really thankful for that. Alright, I have got to get busy, so we're just going to hang out a few more minutes. Turn my heater on. main thing was just trying to get more comfortable in front of the camera, and I wanted to talk about those 2 quilts that are coming up. I'm really excited about the patchwork quilt. Oh, the t-shirt quilt too. But the whole mystery quilt just sounds kind of fun to me. Stay there. Sorry, I'm trying not to poke my finger with pins, so it takes some avid concentration. All right, now I'm ready to turn this corner. We've only gotten 1.5 sides done. So if I want to make it to the yard sale place today, I better turn this camera off. But thanks you guys for stopping by. And thanks for listening to my rambling on and my different ideas about future quilting videos. And I enjoy the chit chat. You know, I work by myself out here. Bye, Margaret. We'll see you in January. It's going to be fun. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye. But I work by myself out here all day, and so it's nice to have people to, you know, chit chat with. And it's Saturday, so even though I'm technically working, it's not like I have to be, you know, on track all day. I can sort of leisurely work and chit chat and hang out and throw off some ideas that I've had. And but I do want to go to the yard sale place, and if I find any really cool things, I'll post pictures of it later. Thank you guys for watching and hanging out with me. If you have any questions about the t-shirt quilt along and then the mystery quilt, you know, you can always feel free to send me a message or post a question on my page. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Let's eat some turkey and some stuffing. Lots and lots of gravy. Bye, you guys.